Hi everyone, my name is Chris Demonian. I'm the lead pastor for Village Church Surrey. I'm really excited that you've decided to join us today. And some of you might be going to Village Church Surrey, and that's incredible. And some of you might not. Maybe you're just a friend who's been invited to a community group. We're really glad you're taking the chance to actually sit here and invest in your discipleship and these relationships of the people around you, but also in your relationship with Jesus. And that might be new to you. You might not know where to place this, but we're in a really unique time in our span as far as curriculum and what we're going through as a church and what we're discussing. And we just came out of 7 weeks of these really big questions, really big cultural questions, ones that engage Christianity and talk about, hey, how does our faith apply in this area? What do we do about this? What does the Bible and the authority in our lives say about this topic? And we went through everything from abortion to marijuana to leadership roles to aliens. I mean, it was just a wild sermon series, but hopefully what it did is poised your heart in a place and positioned you in a place where now you're ready to move beyond those questions and step into the even bigger question of who God is, what he wants with you and from you and in a relationship with you, and how that should change you. I mean, it's a really unique question, and when we come to John chapter 4, which is what we discussed on Sunday, we see this really unique relationship forming between this woman, the Samaritan woman at a well, and Jesus. And we see the character of God in the relationships that Jesus has with other people, the interactions he has, and we see this beautiful thing unfold, and it really pushes us, whether we're Christians or not Christians, or just not even sure what we are, what we'd call ourselves, to really consider the things of who Jesus is and what he actually is offering us, which is new life. In this story, we see this woman who had 5 husbands, and she's with another person in an adulterous relationship, and it's a really interesting climate for Jesus to step in and not only with this woman he's never met, actually talk about the things that's going on in her life, which is this crazy supernatural experience. You can only imagine someone who knows all the secrets that are in your heart and all the things you'd never tell somebody and all the depths of who you are. But then beyond that, he extends this beautiful grace and says, hey, I have something. You're coming to this well. You're looking for satisfaction. You're looking for comfort. You're looking for something to nourish you and to replenish you and to give you life. But I have something better than that. I have living water. And this living water should absolutely change everything about you. Recently, our home had a leak, and it was coming from a toilet in the upper floor. And when I came in the next morning, I'd known there was an issue. I turned off the water valve the night before, and I left. And I came back, and I remember even at the door praying, God, please let it be dry when I walk into the room. And I walked in and saw water dripping from the ceiling in multiple places. This leak wasn't just a small leak. It was like all the way through the ceiling of the main floor in all these different spots and dripping through. And I learned something unique about water that I never really thought about before. It always moves to the lowest point. It always looks to move to the lowest point. And like this, the living water that Jesus is offering you has a chance to actually transform your life, to actually get into the places that nothing else, the lowest parts of your life that you'd never want to uproot. But Jesus wants to step in and not just to convict you, but to heal you, to give you grace, to give you comfort, to give you fulfillment in a different way so that you don't keep running back to those things. Jesus has more for you. So I want to take some time as a group. I want to see you guys discuss. Maybe you heard something in this story for the first time. Hey, I never thought about it that way. Maybe that was the case. Maybe there's things in your life that you keep turning to for comfort. What does that actually look like to turn to Jesus instead? And then also, we see how Jesus actually interacts with this woman who really doesn't have any interest in who Jesus is at the beginning. She really doesn't care. And yet we see how Jesus interacts in an evangelistic way. What are some ways that we can do the same with people in our lives who maybe aren't looking for Jesus? That's our Canadian culture. Nobody's really asking the question, but we might believe that they have a significant eternal question they need to be asking. What does it look like for you to enter into those conversations? Why don't we discuss that as a group right now? So we come out of a discussion like that and say, well, what's next? I mean, this woman at the well, after she left her conversation with Jesus, went back into the city. And verse 39 tells us that many in the city were actually saved because of her testimony. That because of her, this woman who had a bad reputation, met with Jesus, saw a new hope and freedom, saw a new identity in who she is, and then went to see the world around her change, should be an example to us that we can have that exact same involvement and impact in the world around us, regardless of what our past says we we are, regardless of the mistakes we've made, regardless of the things that happen, that Jesus looks at you and says, hey, there's something more to be done, and he wants to do that through you, not tomorrow, not when you mature, not when you're all ready, but immediately after the change, he wants to use you. And so I want to give you two opportunities. One, I want to give you an opportunity to step up and serve in the local church, to step up and be part of what's happening here at Village Church Surrey, what God's doing. We need people. We need you with your giftings. We believe God has put you here at this time in this place with the experience and giftings you've had to actually see more people come to know and fall in love with Jesus. We want that to happen. And secondly, to help us really see what that looks like and understand that when Jesus left, he said, hey, I'm going to send you a helper. And this helper, through him, you're going to actually do greater things than I've done. Jesus says that you and I, the people in the world, are actually going to do greater things than he did in the world because of this helper. And that helper we know is the Holy Spirit. I want to invite you to a day on November the 2nd, starting at 9 a.m. That's all about the Holy Spirit. This is an alpha day discovering the Holy Spirit, and it's for everyone. You as a whole group can come to this. I'm going to be there all day. I'd love for you to come and hang out with me and discover what the Holy Spirit has for us, meaning what is his role in our lives? How can we actually use the power that God has given us through his life living in us as the Holy Spirit's power, and how we can actually engage in a new relationship with Jesus through that power. I would love if you came. I'm reserving some spots knowing some of you guys are going to come. So please send me an email letting me know you want to come. You don't have to come as a group, but I'd love if you all did. That's happening November the 2nd. Ways we can get involved. Just don't stay sterile. Don't stay like in the same static spot. Don't get lame and lazy and all these things. Let's really step into the mission God has for us, because an interaction with Jesus should cause us to live differently. That's what we have for you. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see you next week at Community Group.